Hi, Dancing for Him family. I'm Chandra Cherry, and this is my video for July Worship Study and Activation from the Worship and Spiritual Warfare 2 chapter of Wesley Scott Amos' book, The Worshiping Bride. In my worship study and activation for June, I talked about how there are demonic strategies and strongholds that are designed specifically for us to prevent us from entering in and fulfilling God's ministry assignments created for us. I also talked about the powerful weapon we have for overcoming, which is praise. As we praise, God is enthroned in the praises of his people, and where God is enthroned, God reigns, and all other rulers must bow. In this chapter, we learn in 2 Chronicles that the enemy was coming to Israel to drive them out of their inheritance, but the people confessed their weaknesses and sought God for help. Everyone was on one accord and came together to seek God's guidance. In the midst of this unity, the Lord came upon a Levite who prophesied to not fear because this is God's battle, and to go down against them, but do not fight, but instead just stand. In response, they worship and praise God. The king exhorted that they put their trust in God and gave them a God-inspired strategy for battle. Before I go into the strategy, I would like to describe the symbolism of the account in 2 Chronicles 20 to our time today. God will warn us of the attack of the enemy designed to prevent us from fulfilling our purpose and receiving the resources to carry out his plan for us. We should recognize that we are not able to fight this battle with flesh, because we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, we must seek God's help and receive the word that he has for us to thwart the attack of the enemy. Then begin to praise and worship God in the midst of the battle, because we trust God to completely destroy the attack of the enemy. This activation is symbolic of the 5 aspects of the God-inspired strategy for battle. Number 1, those who sang to the Lord and praised him were appointed. Number 2, they were dressed in holy attire, beauty of holiness. Number 3, they went out before the army singing the praises of God. Number 4, they sang an appropriate song to that battle. And number 5, they lift up holy hands giving thanks to the Lord. The song that will be played in the background is Awesome God by Carmen, because this is a song of declaration that God is powerful, wise, and loving. The song acknowledges our God as our creator. He rules heaven and earth. Most people know the words of this song, so they can sing the words as it is played. The singing of the song represents the aspect number 4. They sang an appropriate song to that battle. This activation is a processional to battle, and it begins with everyone praising God for victory in the battle. Everyone is standing in 2 single file lines on one side of the room, and everyone has a white veil if possible, and a flag. There is a bit of an introduction of the song where someone is talking, and during this time, everyone should be praising God. This represents aspect 1. Those who sang to the Lord and praised him were appointed. Everyone begins to sing to our God is an awesome God when the singing begins, and at the same time, they place the veil around their necks and start waving their flags. This represents the aspect number 2. They were dressed in holy attire, beauty of holiness. This also represents us worshiping God with the right heart. Next, the 2 lines begin to march around the perimeter of the room and allow a few steps between each group of 2 people before letting the next 2 group go. At the same time, they are singing and waving their flags as they march. This represents aspect number 3. They went out before the army singing the praises of God. After everyone has marched around the room, then someone will announce everyone to stop marching. waving their flags, and safely toss the flags aside out of the path of traveling. After it has been deemed safe to move again, the marching will begin again, and at this time everyone is lifting their hands, giving thanks to our God for the victory over the enemy. This represents aspect number 5. They lifted holy hands, giving thanks unto the Lord.